And so this has real ramifications today for what's happening in North Dakota. Plus, we're the 9th most dependent on imported steel in North Dakota. The prices have gone up. My equipment manufacturers tell me whatever advantage they've gotten from the tax code change has been eaten up in the very early months of the steel and aluminum tariffs. And so, there's some economic messages here that I think we need to have a broader discussion than just tariffs. I think that we can do trade and we can put pressure on China in ways that don't involve hurting my soybean farmers, hurting my corn growers, and basically, potentially running regressive taxes, which is what it will be for consumers in our country.
Trade is one thing. So many great things to talk to you about, though, just in this environment. You're one of the last great hopes, I think, for your party, honestly. I do. I mean, I haven't heard you equate Helsinki to Pearl Harbor or Kristallnacht or 9/11. I mean, I see things, and then we've got a new rising star in New York. I know you've seen some of her comments, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, that's the party right now. You're in a position, though, in a red state, with an election in November, so you're our last hope for any type of bipartisan, or just reasonable rhetoric, I think. I mean, is that fair to say? Do you look at some of the comments and say, I mean, where am I? What happened? Where did this party move, or not?
Yeah, I don't think you educate and push back against hyperbolic by being hyperbolic. Now, with that said, I did express great concern and yesterday watched as there was at least a moment where this administration was considering basically allowing the KGB to interview our diplomats. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it'd be awfully hard to fill the diplomatic corps if they thought that they were going to be subject to interrogation eventually. And so, things get corrected and we move on. But, we have to be concerned about what's happening with trade. Our national foreign policy doesn't stop at these kinds of summits. It's about trade, it's about relationships, it's about cross-border dialogue, and I agree with the president. It's always better to be talking. I think that it would be good if we all knew what got said, then we could evaluate what the deal was.
But did, Joe Manchin, another one sort of in a similar situation, he just came out and said that Chuck Schumer, I don't know, he said something, it was kind of spicy what he said about whether if he thinks he's going to influence me on Kavanaugh, something about the sun not shining, or something. I'm not sure what he said.
No, it had to do with kissing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So have you heard from Chuck? Have you heard from?
That's a nice way.
Have you heard from Chuck?
On the kissing.
You must be getting. Are you getting whipped? And I'm not.
No.
I know that's TMI. But is Chuck Schumer trying to convince you to? No.
Yeah, because I think Chuck probably wouldn't waste his breath. He knows it's better just to let us go through the process. Well, I mean,
not for nothing, but
right. I mean, for me, this is a process. And, Joe, aren't you a little concerned that people, before they even announced who this nominee was going to be, said, yeah, I'm for him or her, whoever it is? I mean, I think that's
Well, wait a minute.
irresponsible.
I was thinking, wow, she's so great. She's going to say, aren't you surprised that before you knew who the nominee was, that they already had a blank space? Fill in the blank. We're going to not support him. That's what happened.
Well, that's true. That absolutely. I totally agree with you, Joe.
Well, what about
on both sides?
Where are you leaning right now for Kavanaugh?
I'm not leaning anyway. We haven't had a chance to look at the record, to review the documents. I haven't had a chance to visit with him.
But if he seems qualified,
I'm going to wait until after the hearings.
If he seems,
I mean, that's my standard. Is he qualified? Does he have empathy? Does he have the right judicial temperament?
Right.
Elections have consequences. We'll continue to vet the record. And I want to watch the hearings before I make up my mind.
You're not looking for vengeance for Merrick Garland. I mean, you don't think that the Biden rule applies here? It was the Biden rule, but that was during
there is no Biden rule.
That was during a presidential election. No one said it was during a midterm election that you can't put up and it was Biden's idea during a presidential election to not have a consideration for. I mean, now it's like that.
I didn't like any of it. I didn't like any of it. I mean, and I have said 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, I was heavily critical of what happened with Merrick Garland. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't consider this one.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.